You always just gotta attack it when like defending.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
Am I live? Of course I'm live. People deluded, I'm back again. As usual, please smash the like button. I hope you're doing well and safe. As I said, smash the like button, comment your opinions on these young players, etc., or just thoughts in general. Make sure you've got your notification bell on and all of those good things. And as I said, whether it's during this video, which has been premiered on my channel, obviously, if you're listening, or after, please let me know your opinions. It's no secret. Clearly, I love Arsenal Football Club, but I like to see the development paths of young players in life. You know, it's never just an upwards trajectory, you know, like in life, in the professional game, when these young players leave the under 23s, under 21s, or some of them train with the first team, play with the 21s. When they leave that aspect, I like to see how they cope with the game at the senior level, you know, different formations, different tactics, different requirements. As you know, Arsenal, whether we source young players or they've come up through our academy from an early age, they're kind of taught to play a certain sort of way. So then when you go to another team, yes, we want you to be able to play in a similar system, and ideally you go to a club that does such, but you might go to a club that are fighting in League One, in the Championship, and they need to play a bit more direct. And what I like about it is, you know, I do like the humbleness of all these young players, but when you move away from Arsenal, nobody cares how special Charlie or Balogun or any of these players are. If you're a midfielder, we need to see an Arsenal midfielder week in, week out at these long clubs, would be my thinking as a fan. The same goes for Balogun and all the others. As you know, again, football is filled with politics. Some of these players might not be playing because the manager doesn't want to bet on young players. Other players might be favoured in a system. They might not have taken their chances when they were given it, or they might not be training well, or they could be doing everything they can, and then they're just not being utilised. So, yeah, people, there's many twists and turns, bumps and bruises, but it's nice to see these boys, young men, better yet, out there on loan, learning tricks and trades of the game. Minutes are currency, and I do believe once you get to a certain stage of your career, you need to be going and playing games, and I think a lot of these young players are going and doing that, people. So let me see what I've got for this week in terms of sharing my screen. Big up to you lot that always are part of my loan watch and loan reports and things like that. Make sure you're obviously checking out the playlist on my YouTube channel, where it's obviously clustered and you can see week to week or fortnightly my updates on these players. Now, obviously, Ainsley Maitland-Niles could not play against Arsenal. We played Southampton, his loan club in the Premier League. He can't play due to obvious reasons, so he's not involved. To my knowledge, for me anyways, I've not been able to provide an update on Akinola. Nicholas Moller, who's been struggling with injuries, and for game time, really got 45 minutes in a 3-1 defeat for his loan club, and he managed to get an assist. So hopefully Moller gets some opportunities. Mika Beref, I have no update this week, even though he did come off the bench in our last update and score 2 goals. Rewarded again with that, with not a start against Groningen, but 20 minutes. And it'd be nice to see him get to start and show what he can do in the Eredivisie. Now, Brooke Norton-Coffey, I believe he could have a future at Arsenal. He needs to improve technically. He needs to improve off the ball, especially when as a fullback you go forward. Technically, I don't think he's of the required standard right now in the final third and what the modern day fullback requires. But if everything falls into place, I think he can have a career at Arsenal or elsewhere. I think his mentality will see him have a good future. You know, he's never, and one thing I like about him is away from home. For a young 18, 19-year-old man, he's not scared away from home. So I think it's all timing. Obviously, there's a lot of dynamics at play, but you know, if he's not ready by the time he's 20 or somewhat ready, then I don't think he'll ever will be. But I think depending on squad depth of things, he could have a role here. Either way, I think he'll have a good career in the senior game, or he'll make Arsenal a decent amount of money if we can negotiate properly. He played against Hull. It was a terrible day, really and truly, for everybody. You know, he got 60 odd minutes to my notes. He struggled at periods in the game. I think it was a so-so performance. I think there was too much space down his side for Hull to attack. And I think he had a tough day at the office. 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 performance. I think against Hull, he battled very well. He showed he's a fighter. You know, he gave as good as he got with his winger. I think he really had a better game in the 1-0 victory against Stoke, people. Stoke could have scored more goals. Obviously, Harry Clark was there. Well, it's Harry Clark's club on loan. I don't think Stoke finished their dinner. Neither could Rotherham, and that's why ultimately they didn't get anything. They are like with young Marcelo Flores. Miguel Aziz has a new manager. He's got 7-8 appearances in the league at this moment. He got 16 minutes in the 2-1 defeat to Levante, people. So you want to see him play more, start more ultimately, but he weren't fortunate with that. Now, Marcelo Flores only has about 300 odd minutes to his name in the Segunda division in Spain, or La Liga 2, better yet. He's got 8 appearances, and in the 1-0 victory against Malaga, there's also a new manager at his club as well. He came on in the 1-0 victory against Malaga in this 82nd minute. It's not really, again, everybody rates him, and he's a good player and all of that, but this is the harsh reality of life, really. Sometimes you're not going to be playing, and these experiences will make you can ask Miguel Aziz with his loan spell at Portsmouth. You can ask Balogun with his loan spell at Middlesbrough. You could probably ask Smith Rowe when he went to Leipzig. For various reasons, they may or may not have been playing, but these experiences make you stronger. And for me, it's better than being in the under-21s where you're going to play every game, really, and you're not going to know why you're not necessarily playing, people. So yeah, it's not really been that. He's yet to complete 90 minutes. They've probably moved up now, but at the time they were 19th in the league as well, so that's why their managers paid the price, people. I do think they've probably gone up now since the last time I had that there, so we'll have to see. I saw this note on him by the Oviedo president, people. He said, whatever minutes he plays, the experience is going to be very enriching. When you go out on loan, you have to go through good times and others not so good. What you have to do is adapt and earn your place. A lot of the times it's not easy or as easy as it seems. I think it's an important step for him. That might have actually been Mikel Arteta, people. I think it was when asked. And the president of his current loan club said, we forget that he's 18, and obviously he is. He's got to be able to show your consistency and show why you're starting, but also there's no good being good on the Saturday if they're playing on a Tuesday and you're not really. And obviously physically it takes a lot out of you. How many games do you play in quick succession for the under-21s? Once a week, 9 times out of 10. There's 2 games every 10 days or something like that, with 9 times out of 10 when you're playing in the men's game. We forget that he's 18 years of age, and I think in youth football people forget about that. If you're highly rated at 16, you're not quite starting week in week out for your club. At 18, people cast you off. You've even seen that with Vinicius Jr. People really underestimate how difficult it is to be consistent, competent, and obviously for these young players display confidence in the senior game, much less do it with all the cameras and all the hype and all these things. Marcelo, as much as he was educated at Arsenal, is now here with us, and all this is part of his process. He now has to gain experience, and it's important in his training and his growth. We have a contract with him until May or June, and we want him between 2 or 3 years with us. So again, if he could stay there for a couple of years, develop, grow in consistency, he either makes Arsenal some money or gets a future at Arsenal, or he just becomes a more all-rounded professional. We have a vast squad, and it's a long season with 42 games, and the coach must rotate the squad. And now he doesn't have the ones he would like, but Flores, will surely have more minutes. And that's true. For Arsenal, we might have to revisit that in January, a bit like Omar Rekic, because they're not really getting game time per se. So it might have to be something. So yeah, Ryan Elaboso got 74 minutes in his side's 1-0 victory. Maziza Gongbo, we didn't see him against Doncaster or Newport or Grimsby. We haven't seen him, to my knowledge, against Mansfield or Colchester. So we're going to have to update that at another time. Now, obviously, as a keeper, there's not much you can really do, but shout out to Arthur Okonkwo. They drew 1-1 against Doncaster. I do think set pieces crew are quite terrible. I do think Arthur has a lot to work on. I wouldn't really describe him as a safe pair of hands necessarily at this moment in time, but he did save a penalty, people. Strong hand to it. And things like that. So that's good. That's almost like scoring a goal for a goalkeeper, in it. Well, scoring a goal for a striker is what it probably would be. Still no winning fight for Crew. So again, the 21-year-old is seeing the hustle and bustle. John Jules got 73 minutes in the 1-0 victory against Derby County. They're top of League One, so hopefully they continue. Currently, to my knowledge, Omar Rekic is nursing, better yet, a muscle injury, which left him out of the Utrecht game. He probably wouldn't have played anyways, people, played significant minutes. He stands at 15 minutes of league action so far. So as I was just referring to, that is probably something that needs to be revisited in January if it continues like that, because I'm sure if Tunisia is in the World Cup, I don't know if he's going to get called up at this moment in time for the Winter World Cup. Now, it was a great moment for Alex Kirk over there in Scotland. They drew 2-2 against Cove Rangers. He got 90 minutes, but he also scored his first senior goal, people. A headed effort from a corner to help his team snatch a point, people. So yeah, it is in that regards. Harry Clark, I don't know what I was trying to do there, people, so I'll have to leave that there. I must have got sidetracked. But he did play against Coventry and he came on at halftime. He never really got going, in my opinion. And that shouldn't be an L as well, people. That should be a W for them, man, there. But yeah, that's what I've got to say on Harry Clark. And he's someone that probably doesn't have a future at Arsenal Football Club, but you'd imagine he'd have a decent career, like you see with Daniel Ballard over there in the Championship. I'll be surprised if Stoke don't take him permanently, or if he doesn't have suitors, people, because he's been at Hibernian, been at Stoke, been on a couple of loans, and he's going from strength to strength. Austin Trusty as well is having quite the loan spell at Birmingham, people. There's meant to be more. Where is my? This is, I've got Zangt here, people. If I'm honest with you, oh, it's here. Oh no, that's Charlie. There's meant to be something else here. I'm meant to have some other notes away from a game with Austin Trusty, but we're gonna have to leave that. He played in the 2-1 defeat against Blackburn. Now Blackburn have Gallagher, got Diaz, got a number of tricky players, got a number of couple of Walton and Phillips, couple decent young players as well. But he's adjusted to life over there at Brom. Very good. He plays in a 3-5-2. He always tries to carry the ball out defense, get things going. Chipped in with a couple of goals a few weeks ago. He's always, it seems like, always down his side. He's in for a busy day for Birmingham, sorry. But yeah, against Blackburn, they lost 2-1. I did think Brum in general were quite wasteful in the game. I think he could have done better to close down his man in the build up to the second goal. But I think he had a busy day against Blackburn versus their attackers, and he coped well. He tackled well. He stepped out well. He read the game well generally, apart from what I said about the second goal. And he made one lovely sliding effort to win the ball off Gallagher, where it looked like it could have been curtains for Birmingham. So he's just basically joined Arsenal. He's moved from America and he's getting solid experience over there at Birmingham. So shout out to Birmingham for using our player. I think we should send a couple more to Brum, really and truly. And obviously big up Charlie Patino. Again, the only mark you can have against his Blackburn loan is that he unfortunately had to miss a couple of weeks with injuries, but he's taken to it like a duck out of water. We know he's a talented boy. He's got great short and long range passing, always wants the ball, great in tight space. He's good at breaking and connecting the lines and connecting with the final third players. Can play as an 8, at times not quite a 6, but he can play as the somewhat deepest lying playmaker, sort of 6. Because he's youthful, he probably at this moment in time you could utilize him a lot. Just giving him a somewhat free role in the 10. And he's played a bunch of these sort of things for Blackburn and he's done very well, people. His more experienced teammate, has said he's sensational and he has got a chant already. He deserves all the credit. Hearing the fans singing his song for 90 minutes, I bet it's surreal, to be honest. He's only young, but the way he has took to the Championship is unbelievable. He'll be a top player. We need to keep our feet on the ground with Charlie because he's only played 11 games for Blackburn. It's a very different entity doing that in the Premier League week in, week out. He still is young. What we sent him out on loan, he's doing. He's showing his adaptability, showing his consistency, showing his quality, because you don't get chance and teammates talking about you for no reason. For me, he's taken his Arsenal education and he's got Spanish and English blood in him, and the Haylen stuff and what he's probably learnt mixing it with the first team at Arsenal. He's taken all of that and then he's adapted it to whatever the Blackpool gaffer demands of him, and he's doing the business. For someone that isn't going to be known as a tough tackler, he doesn't shy away from the dirty elements of the Championship. He gets kicked, he gets back up, he tries to give it back as well. He puts in a shift defensively. Quality player, as I said, he just needs to keep feet on the ground, keep developing, keep maintaining this high level, come back to Arsenal, a more experienced player, and then we see where we're at. Does he go to another loan spell in the Championship, or like what Balogun's doing over there in France? Does he now get promoted properly to Arsenal's first team beyond what we know already? And if he does, if he's not necessarily going to play games, probably needs to go out on loan again, because ideally Arsenal should be in the Champions League next season. It's not like it's the Europa, but all things are falling into place. Like I said here, just maintain your form, keep it. There will obviously be better and worse moments from him, but just maintain his form, keep going up the levels, and we see what you're saying in pre-season, really. With Xhaka, Partey and El Nene not showing any signs of slowing down, and El Nene's got an option of another year. Xhaka and Partey are still here, but they're not going to be here forever. In terms of finding long-term depth in midfield, Charlie, if he keeps doing what he's doing, there should be a role opened up for him. I would like Arsenal at first team level to sign 2 midfielders and 2 8s and a 6. You've still got Lokonga there. You've still got Zinchenko, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Odegaard, who can all play a bunch of roles as well as an 8. These are all things that can go for or against Patino. But I think if he continues like this, what we know already is that, he should have an opportunity. And what I like about him is, you know, he's got a fantastic mentality, really. Forget football from a human aspect as well. But yeah, against Preston, you know, he scored a lovely finish from about 20, 25 yards with his left peg. He also got an assist, people, a typical Charlie assist, a typical Arsenal midfielder assist to set up Jerry Yates, people. Goal assist, forget the goals or assists, because sometimes they can mask performances. He played well without that. He done his job. He done everything he needs to. He's getting better with every game. He's becoming more competent, confident, and consistent, and ultimately comfortable at this level. You know, he always shows for the ball. He glides through midfield. You know, he's a typical player you want to see play at Arsenal. I mean, the defeat to Hull, I did think he found it difficult to impose his usual playing style. They doubled up on him and they kicked him throughout. He tried the thing, but it wasn't quite that. And obviously against Preston in the 4-2 win, he scored, he got an assist, and overall had a fantastic performance. So shout out to Charlie. Balogun, you know, Reams didn't get a man sent off for once. They're up to 12th in the table. They're apparently they got a new manager incoming, and he's got 7 goals in 12 games, people. So he's mixing it up with the big boys over there in France. You know, really keep doing it. And I know there's Neymar and Mbappe, and that really, you know, it's easy to get assists when you got Messi and Verratti and all these guys behind you. Who's he got at Reams? Respectfully, you know, as I said, in the 2-1 victory against Auxerre, he had good general play. A late winner from Ato gave them all 3 points. I think he did everything well, you know, to a suitable standard, forgetting the goal for a sec. And obviously, bags, people, not the most amazing of finishes, but they all count. And that's what you want your young striker to do. And like Charlie, just keep developing, see where your level is at, because again, just because they've had great loan spells doesn't mean that they're going to hit Arsenal and it's all going to work out really and truly like that. But they'll come back more experienced and more all-rounded and have a better chance. They're unbeaten in 4 now, people. It's quite the drama where Reims are concerned. Still over there in France against Lens, Nuno Tavares played in the 1-0 defeat to Lens. He looked bright in the first half, providing his usual engine and stuff down the left-hand side. I did think he faded as Lens started to control the game in the second half, people. I think it was a 6 out of 10 performance. And unfortunately for Marseille, their seasons get slowing down a bit. You know, they've had their 3rd L of the season now, and I believe that's their 3rd L in a row now. So a bit of mixed success, people. So yeah, that's how I feel in relation to the young players, people. So yeah, and like I said, please smash the like button. Any comments you've got, please make sure you've commented them, people. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you lot and monitor the development of the youth players, people. Obviously, you've got Pepe and Marie. I leave them out on purpose. You know, it looks like Monza might stay in the Italian first division, which is great. Pepe bagged the penalty and has done it's been a bit mixed for Nice, but he is finding his goals. Hopefully they take him permanently. You have obviously a jury and obviously Tom Smith, our young goalie's out on loan as well in non-league, I believe. It's very difficult for me to really keep track of them, if I'm honest with you, people. So I don't really have any opinions for them, but we wish them all the best. So yeah, man. You know, mixed success. Some players have maintained their form. Some people are going to take a bit longer before they start showing consistency. Some people might start off very strong on loan and then fade out. But all of this is going to make these players at various different stages, but all quite young, more all-rounded individuals. So with that being said, I have nothing else to add. So I'm going to let you lot get out of here. As I said, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, turn on your notifications. Please comment any opinions in general, people. But for now, stay blessed, take care. Hope you and your loved ones remain in good health, and we'll meet again.
There's always just that active red line defenders.
I think it's like